Greetings everyone. Welcome to Season 2 of Martiniere Career Fair. This is a technical session held by Miss Sonia Khan, who is going to help you understand the music world in a better way. So, Miss Sonia Khan is someone who comes with an experience of over 2 decades of managing and coordinating multicultural events worldwide. This includes dealing with government institutions, companies, embassies, and diplomatic high commissions, cultural organizations, international festivals, and conferences. Her expertise lies in coordination of the complex events involving many stakeholders and offering solutions for cultural undertakings. Using her expertise in management and dealing with the youth in 2011, becoming the managing director of India National Youth Orchestra and the director for India of the Austrian Music Concepts, an organization which develops innovative music programs. With her rich management background, in 2012, she was appointed as an advisor and a member of the interview board with the Union Public Service Commission with the Government of India for the Music and Theatre Division. In 2013, she became a member and representative for India with the Commonwealth Youth Orchestra. Ms. Sonia coordinated the cultural activities for Culture 2014 in Scotland and the UK for Commonwealth Games. In May 2014, she was appointed as the Indian representative for the Associated Board of Royal Schools of Music, London, ABRSM, where she organizes the international music exams for practical and theory, and doubling the turnover of the organization in India. She also organizes concerts, workshops, and exchange programs between orchestras and choirs around the globe related to ABRSM curriculum. Recently, in April 2017, she was honored by the Center of Culture Diplomacy Bangalore and the Indian Economic Trade Organization for her work in promoting Western classical music to the youth in India through the India National Youth Orchestra and the chorus and the ABRSM. So the first question that we'd like to ask you is that firstly, how did your interest in music as a career grow, and how did you then become affiliated to ABRSM?
Okay. Actually, I used to be more into speech and drama a couple of years back, and we used to do the annual events, annual days for the different schools in Delhi. And slowly and steadily, all these annual events also needed music. So we thought of starting a India Youth Orchestra first, and we started that. And as there was no national orchestra like you have your national cricket team, we went to the government and said we would like to make it national. And we got the permission and we got empaneled by the ICCR. And we became the India National Youth Orchestra and Chorus, because we were dealing with musicians from all the states and trying to give the best education to them possible, with our faculty coming in from Vienna, because we have close ties with them. So this is how it started. And I think so reading that, ABRSM got in touch with me to help them to conduct these exams and coordinate the examinations here. I wasn't sure of myself because I hadn't done anything to do with exams as such, or coordination. But we said, yes, we'll take over. And I started with Delhi, and then we got on to more cities in North India. We have very old schools like the Woodstock School, Missouri, doing these exams. So we brought in a lot of schools. We brought in through Mr. Quallen, being kind enough. He was able to encourage the students to take up exams at your school. We have now, I think so, Lucknow currently has doing the best in all over India where music examinations is concerned. And La Martiniere is doing very well for that. And this is how I took over North India, and then I went on to South India, Karnataka, and lately I have taken over. I'm taking care of Andhra Pradesh and Telangana as well. And some parts of Southeast Asia, I'm just helping them out with China and Hong Kong and Singapore.
Perfect, ma'am. That was a very insightful answer to that. So, ma'am, based on what you mentioned about how you're expanding the entire business, if I should say, and how you get various trainers from all across the globe. So, ma'am, what are the certain challenges which you might have faced in, expanding the business and thereafter inviting a lot of people?
See, in India, the challenges that we face is we have a lack of teachers, trained teachers. Because as you can see, your parents, our parents, they all wanted the children to have a proper, you can either be a teacher in maths or physics or English or things like that, or you be an engineer and a doctor. But nobody actually concentrated on music education. Yeah, you go and play an instrument, fine, but not read and write music. So we have this, we need to get more teachers. We need to train more teachers in India that they are able to guide the students better. Like in India, we have, we would say, like we have around 7,000 students on a yearly basis taking these exams. But in like Southeast Asia, China and Hong Kong, we have about maybe 10,000 students a month taking these exams. So there are, you have to take this more seriously, and you have to change this outlook of the older generation, that is the parents, my age group, that let your child take up music. It's not going to harm them, like how I spoke with Ruma a while back, that music is important. It will help you to develop yourself holistically. Fine, physics, chemistry, maths is also very good, but music, you need to have something in music, like you do sports. You all are paying so much of attention to sports. We need to bring up the music scenario in this country more, and give opportunities and explain to the parents. Mainly it's the parents, that your child will get, in case if the child does become a music teacher or a sound engineer, you are going to earn well. The parent wants you to earn well and be well settled, and you will earn well. You will earn very well, more than an engineer and a doctor. Mind you that. You can, if you take it up well. That's it.
Perfect, ma'am. Listening to that, I would also like to have a follow-up question on it, like acknowledging the fact that in India, a majority of the parents hold an orthodox ideology wherein they do not allow their children to choose such a field based on assumptions that it is quite unreliable. Therefore, ma'am, how do you suggest the students to deal with the same? And if you had certain similar problems, what are your recommendations for the same?
See, we do speak with parents that as we know, the main subjects are important. You should be a graduate, finish your graduation. But at the same time, when you're in school, when you are from class 3, 4 onwards, you should do these exams. This helps you in getting a good university, getting into a good university after you finish your 12th. Plus, these days, schools want to see just not your graduation certificate. In case if you're going for a job, they want to see what have you done in music. So most of the international schools in India and abroad are looking at a minimum of grade 5 theory and a grade practical exam from ABRSM before they hire them. They're making it compulsory. They said, we just don't want to know that you, know how to play. You need to be, so it's like a degree. At the same time, you're getting a degree. So I tell the parents, take this as your fixed deposits, like I spoke earlier. And this is going to help you get admissions. This is what the language the parents will understand. Main thing, is my child going to get admission? Is my child going to earn well? Are they going to be settled? Yes, you can do so many more things. So many things with music, just not being a teacher. Artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence requires music, and you need to have a music background if you want to do artificial intelligence.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for helping us understand that. Ma'am, you were talking about artificial intelligence, right? So could you please elaborate on the same? How does it require music to become an engineer in the field of artificial intelligence?
I'll just give you a personal experience of myself. As I said, my children I was an Indian parent, and they did music. They did ABRSM. So they started at the age of 3 and 4 doing this. And I wanted them to complete the grade 8 exam by the 7th or 8th standard academic year. Because I knew from 9th onwards, they would be getting into the coaching classes and there would be no time to do music, to carry on with the music. So we finished off by the time they were in the 8th standard. One was in the 8th, one was in the 9th. They finished off their grade 8. And we pushed them, we wanted them to do engineering, and they did engineering from Canada. And we did not pay 1 rupee for it from the top-notch universities. Now, after they did their undergrad, they got their masters. They did their masters because whichever company they were working in, they paid for their masters. Now, when they've started, one of them is doing their PhD in artificial intelligence. Music, he just came back and said, Mama, music is coming back to use. I don't know how that has to happen because, you have to catch for cybersecurity. Artificial intelligence, cybersecurity, those videos that are being made, that are being faked on the net, they know exactly what is happening, and you need music for that. There is something, I'm not so literate where engineering and artificial intelligence is concerned, but he needed to show his musical background to be able to get in and be accepted for the PhD for artificial intelligence and cybersecurity.
All right, ma'am. Thank you so much for that insight. And I request all the viewers to also make a note of this because I haven't ever heard of this connection with artificial intelligence and music. So thank you so much, ma'am, for presenting it.
So, you have these videos, these fake videos, somebody is speaking. It's like President Obama, like is speaking, but actually it's somebody else speaking and changing the words. How do they catch it? It is you need to have that musical background, the tone and texture has to come out. Somehow, something connects with it. And the prerequisite required to get into this is you need to have the music knowledge.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for helping us understand that. I'd also like to know, you mentioned that, for example, to get into a good university, you need a grade 8 level exam, or to be considered, you might need a grade level 5 exam, right? However, with so much competition, how do you make a mark for yourself in the field of music? So, of course, these theory exams do play a role, but apart from that, what are the other things that people who are interested in pursuing music need to do to make a mark for themselves in this field?
See, it's just not learning what we parents think that they'll get. It's just not your certification. How we always tell, as soon as you've reached a grade 6 or a grade 7, you start teaching the youngsters, who have the prep test in grade 1 level, start teaching them. So in that way, you're doing social service and you're bringing your knowledge to use. You are allowing yourself to, which you have to show in your applications. You have to show social service in your applications. You can start teaching the youngsters, bring it, help them to do these exams. It goes in the certification. A representative like us, we give you a recommendation letter that they completed the exam and they helped so and so. They were able to train so many students to do these youngsters to do the exams, or at least train them for getting ready for the exams. Now, this is what the admissions officer want to see. They want to see that you have developed, how you have brought your knowledge. It's just not rote learning and getting marks. How you've been able to give back to the society. So your social service, usually in social service, you will go to a slum area and start teaching. This is what people are doing for the social service. The admission officers for India have caught hold of that this is all a facade. You just go for that 1 month teach and that's it. But when, as I said, music just does not come overnight. So if you will be getting somebody ready for the exam, it is going to take you a year or two to get them ready to the grade 1 or a grade 2 level. So the admission officer knows how to connect what is a genuine application and what is just beautified and packed and presented in front of them. So you have to be very careful. These people know they are receiving thousands. So this is your competition. You have to show how genuine you are. Recommendation letters we all can give. You are friends with somebody, they'll give you a recommendation letter. No, but it's the certification that will help you, that I made so and so do the exam. That's how.
Right. Ma'am, you mentioned that there is music which does not come overnight to you, and that there is a competition with a great number of people that people who want to pursue music as a career have. So, ma'am, based on that, are there certain prerequisites which people need to have for choosing music as a career in future, or is it something which we only have to learn after we've pursued music?
As a career,
yes.
So you cannot do music. The younger you are, the better it would be. Okay, but in case if you did not have the opportunity, or people did not know, you all did not have an idea that this is what music can do, if you can do it during your college and university days, and it will help you. So in case if I have a sound engineer, I need to go to a sound engineer, they have to have this certification. But a sound engineer knows exactly how to change the, how to make it bass, or how to, adjust the volume, what will sound good. So they need to have that theoretical part, how to make it, how to go through it. So be it movies, be it being a teacher, be it a psychologist, if you want to be a doctor, you need to have this education. So somewhere down the line, better would be if you do it during the school days. But if you did not get this opportunity to do it during the college days. It's never too late. And how you make use of it. It's just that, besides all this, all the work that you learn and you get certification, it's management, how you will manage this and take it on. You can be a wonderful musician, but if you don't have good management skills, or you don't have a good manager, why do these musicians have managers? Because then somebody has to promote you. But before you hire somebody else, you have to have the management skills yourself. Like I've done music management. Okay, so I'm like jack of all trades. I need to know all the instruments, the basics of all instruments. Before I put a orchestra together, I'm not a conductor. But in case if suddenly something happens to an instrument, I need to know how to repair it. I need to know how to get the funding. So there's a lot of management that requires, even if you're a musician or even if you're a doctor or anything, how to sell yourself, that you get clients.
Yes, ma'am, perfect. And ma'am, like based on that only, if a person, like you mentioned, that a person can pursue music as a career at any time, it's never too late for going ahead with music. So based on that, what are certain professionally proclaimed institutions wherein we can go to pursue music as a career if in case ABRSM is not there once we've passed out from school?
There are so many opportunities that have opened up. You can, as to begin with, you can even, if you're doing your BA, BCom or law or economics or engineering or anything, at the same time, you can do these side certifications, which is like a degree, which helps you. But if you want to go and study, especially in a university, there's Europe. So I would say Germany, Austria, Italy, these are the main countries where you can go and study. But be careful. What is happening is most of these universities have realized that the international students want to come in and study. So they try to make it easier and trying to do these courses in English. Remember, any course in English has been developed very fast. Not too much of thinking has gone into it. Okay, and there's a person who's being able to converse with you in English is teaching you. But if you want in-depth knowledge, please take on a course which is from that country from that language. So you must learn that language for 1 or 2 years before you will get the student visa. Otherwise, you won't get the student visa to study. So Europe, I would say, is the best. It has a solid foundation for music. Then these days, what we see, people are going to Berkeley in US. But then again, you just do it, and then they're not being able to settle down somewhere and get proper jobs. I know many people from Berkeley, it's not working out. But Europe, I would say, is the best place, or Singapore. Singapore is important. So try and work this out. And then we have our own, the Royal Colleges in the UK. So we are affiliated with the 4 Royal Colleges, and it's the Royal Colleges. You can go and study out there. But at the same time, again, I'm saying, you can't make music come up suddenly. Will have to have some background. So tomorrow, if you're interested in being a lawyer, you will have to be good in debating or, writing and things like that. If you want to be an engineer, you'll be good in technical stuff from your school days. So for music also, you'll need to show some interest. Something you need to have. So please start as young as possible, especially, the junior school and the middle school. There's not so much of academic pressure and coaching classes. The parents should just make them do it at that time.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for helping us understand that. I'm sure that the parents who are watching this will understand the significance that music can have on you, even if you don't want to pursue it professionally. Although I'd like to deviate slightly from the theory side of music, could you help us understand if a person wants to pursue music professionally and wants to make a name for themselves in a country such as India? Firstly, could you help us understand how has the scope of professional music grown in India over the years? And then how can a person understand the market well to cater to the needs of the audience?
It has definitely grown. If you look at the most popular industry, the Bollywood industry. So Bollywood also, all the sound engineers, they all need to have some music education. Earlier, they were just doing, as I said, it was a jugaad kaam. You knew how to do, you knew how to play something, you could sing. They would do the help with the sound and making of, writing a song and things like that. But now, you need, like A.R. Rahman, he's opened his KM Music Conservatory. Why? Because they want people to be in India, those who cannot afford to go abroad, they study out there and then they can go into the film industry. Then be it teachers. We have teachers going into, because we are asked by a lot of international schools to give us, send them teachers. And for that, again, and they get paid very well. So the salary starts anything from 1.5 lakhs to 2 lakhs a month as a teacher's job for music. But you need to have these certifications. You just can't say, because I know how to play the guitar or I know how to play the piano, a principal is going to take you on. No longer. They want to see these certifications. the Bollywood industry wants to see these certifications. We just need it. If I have to hire, because we have to take care of so many schools, I have to hire somebody who is a manager, who is an MBA graduate, but has done a bit of music properly, has done some certification, maybe even just in a grade 5, but knows what is music examinations all about. Otherwise, I can't take on somebody who's just an MBA. You have to side by side with your academics, be it in school, be it in university, you have to do these courses. Otherwise, it's difficult to just, okay, I want to do something in the music industry. You can't.
Right. So there are a lot of singing reality shows as well wherein people go. So do you think that there are the singing reality shows which actually have a bolstering impact on the various stages of the career of a musician?
Yes, as I said, it's just that how talented you are, how you're being able to handle that, how you're being able to manage that. So whether you're doing, like right now, I'm not a teacher. I'm not a music teacher. I'm not a music examiner. I'm totally into music management. I have to learn how to handle that, but I have to have my basics of music to be able to do this. You understand? So the reality is you have to have your normal degree, which you have your graduation, BA or BCom or whatever, or engineering, and you have to have music simultaneously to be able to build this through. Because there's too much of competition. People are wanting you to be the best in everything, So I would like to hire somebody who has both this knowledge, just not MBA degree or just not a musician. I don't want a musician. I need for both to be able to handle this.
Thank you, ma'am, for helping us understand that. I'd like to know people who want to pursue music in a mainstream format. We've discussed if a person wants to get into a corporate job, they should do music on the side. However, if they want to do mainstream music, for example, in Bollywood, so are formal studies a requirement? And if not, then having a formal degree, what are the advantages if you pursue one?
See, be it Bollywood or be it just opening your own studio, recording studio, and getting into your own business. Personally, I would say you need to have a normal college degree as well. Please just don't get into just music. Have a normal graduation, be it a BA, as I said, BCom, anything, whatever you are happy with. And at the same time, then go ahead and pursue your further studies in music. So it is just not music. Just not music. You have to do both, Roman. You have to do both.
Thank you, ma'am, for helping. I think that's a more safer route what people might consider in a very conventional way. Ma'am, I'd also like to know that recently people have become very receptive to different genres such as pop, hip-hop, Indian electronic music. Producers like Ritviz have come up and making a name for themselves. So what do you think has caused this shift in your view, and how can newcomers who want to pursue music, who want to be where these mainstream artists are, how do they recognize what is currently going on in the market and then produce relevant music?
You see, there's always a circle of life. Okay? So there's always the fashion changes, the trend changes. And hip-hop culture and pop music, of course, it's in. But before they got into the hip-hop and pop culture, they had to learn how to crawl and then walk and then get into this hip-hop culture. Okay? So first you do the crawling, walking, and then you have your ideas how to, convert or make more music in a different way. So again, I come back to you have to know your basics, your foundation has to be strong. You cannot become a mathematician if you don't know your plus and minus and your multiplication tables well. Okay, you have to have that foundation. So again, I come back to get the basic education in music, and then you can just convert and do whether Indian music, hip-hop music, whichever, Latino music, whatever you want to do. You are open to, you will have more ideas. You'll be able to develop it yourself. You can't be just taking music and reading. If you want to be a composer, you need to be able to read and write music. How will you read and write music and make music if you don't know the basics? See, for this, it's the schools that come in, the academic schools like La Martiniere, okay, which should be made available, like your SUPW class. Do you all have an SUPW class?
Yes, ma'am, we do.
So like you have your SUPW class, or you have your music clubs. You have the photography club or the robotics club. So you have the music club. So this is where the principal and the management play a big role in developing the youth for tomorrow in what they are interested in. So I would say if every school in the country, be it even the Kendriya Vidyalayas, if they can help and get these teachers. So, again, it's a circle of life. We will be giving teachers will have to be trained. We will be getting more teachers to do these exams. So they will also have a foundation. Then they start training the youth. So again, we are generating, it's a full circle going around. So please, you should tell the other schools, if you're in touch with other schools, or Mr. McFarlane, or when you have your other group meetings. Education starts from school. School is so important to inculcate this.
Right, ma'am. Thank you.
I'm just telling you, one of the directors for the Vienna University is an Indian. And it started because of your school in La Martiniere. Because he started taking the choir rehearsals. Okay? And it just helped him to grow and do this. And after that, he went to study in Graz in Austria. And today he's the director of the music department of the Vienna University. Why? Because it was your school. They started with a small thing with choir. Okay? So I'm just saying your school plays a very big role for this.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. It was very important to note again, because the school part of it, I didn't know that it was so important. So again, thank you so much for that answer. Ma'am, the final question for the day is there any special advice for aspiring music producers, singers who wish to pursue music as a career in the future, and not only to make out a living of it, but to live in a better and more enjoyable manner?
Yes, that is so important, because otherwise you're just thinking, how much am I going to earn? The parent is thinking, will my child be settled? Will they get a good salary? That's it. Of course, money is important because you have to run your household. That is important. But if you're not happy with the work that you do, any work, you will never be able to, make it grow. It will be stressful for you. Oh, I have to go for another day of job, another something happening. No, it should not be stressful for you. It should be, for us, for my organization, when we look at our office here in India, we don't have a certain time. We don't have a 9-to-5 job. So sometimes, in case if, China and Hong Kong, they are 2.5 hours ahead of us. So they start off early at 5 o'clock. It would be 5 o'clock in the morning because they start at 7 o'clock. We have to pick up the phone and talk to them. We have to pick up the phone and talk to them. But we have to enjoy it. And this is what I say, whatever you do, whatever field, it's just not music. You should just enjoy what you do. And the more I think so, parents should let go after still a certain time. Till 7th, 8th standard, parents need to be there, do this, do that. But after that, the child should himself or herself know what exactly I want to do. There is so much of opportunities available. You don't have to every time go abroad. You don't have to go abroad. You can just do it here in India. And as I said, a very feasible way out is, if you want to do something in music, do this certification. It's a degree. It's not your academic class, which you're doing in class 1, class 2, class 3. It's a degree that you're earning, which will help you to get a job at the same time. It's training you. This is what it is. So I just hope so. You boys, we wish you the very best, and you just try and spread this word as much as possible. Music is so important, as important as sports.
Right. Thank you so much, ma'am. It was a pleasure to have your interview. It was my honor, distinguished honor, to take your interview. And of course, it was a privilege to get answers from you to the very important questions which have been posed by a lot of people in our school, because a numerous amount of people want to pursue music as a career, but again, due to the orthodox ideology at their homes, they usually aren't able to go forward with it. And then because they do not have a clear roadmap as well at times. So thank you so much for providing us with a clear roadmap as well. It was a pleasure taking your podcast, ma'am. Thank you.
Everyone, now we will be moving forward to the career expert in music, Mr. Vijay Upadhyay. He was born in Lucknow and studied music at the Music University in Graz, Austria, and pursued diploma studies in Indian percussion and dance in India. He also has a Bachelor of Arts in English Literature, Economics and History. In 1994, he became the director of the Vienna University Philharmonic. This involves the annual coordination of approximately 50 concerts for 9 choirs, 2 orchestras, and 6 conductors. Since 2009, he has been the conductor and composer for Chinese National Orchestra and chorus who commissioned him to write his second symphony, Changmen, in 2016. This is the first large commission awarded by the People's Republic of China to a 9 Chinese composer. In addition, he is an expert appointed by the Chinese government in connection with developing cultural activities in China. His first symphony, Prayer Flags, was premiered in 2014 and is a milestone in his musical development. The work is based on Indian literature and melodies. We are very sure that you're going to learn about how you can make a career in music through listening to this podcast. podcast.
So we're glad to have you on the show today. For the first question that I'd like to ask you is that, firstly, how did your interest in music grow as a career, and how has your journey been so far, and what are the challenges that you've faced along the way?
Well, now with the globalization and internet and information available, it's a completely different period than what it was to my time. So it came by chance basically to me because my mother had studied piano. So I learned piano from my mother, and that's how I started. And then it came by chance that at that time the school did not have a choir conductor, so I was kind of forced into being the choir conductor of the school when I was already in class 9. So I gathered some experience there, and it was not really planned that I would go into a career into music. But then I got a scholarship to Austria to go and study music, and that's what I did. Yeah.
Perfect, sir. Thank you so much for that brief insight. My question to you is that how does someone make a name for themselves in a saturated field such as music? Because again, a lot of people tend to get famous through this, but there are a lot of people who do not get the opportunity of getting to a higher point. So, sir, what is your suggestion for the youth for the same?
I think the first thing, whatever you're studying, if you do music, or if you do medicine, or if you do whatever, these days it's a question of multitasking and multiple talents. So if you don't speak enough languages, if you don't organize yourself technically to do certain things, you have to broaden your knowledge in different fields. That's the most important thing. And as a musician, as non-musicians, one thinks that music is a kind of an art, and one is more like inspiration and joy of art, but it's a lot of hard work. And it requires a lot of daily discipline because it's like a sport art. So you have to practice it every day. Otherwise, it doesn't work out.
All right, sir. Thank you. A follow-up on that. So it is usually considered that people who listen to music are usually driven towards getting solace. So do you agree with the same, or is just...
It is difficult for a musician to say that because for a musician, a lot of music is a lot of technical preparation. So I don't know if one gets transformed into another world and inspired all the time because one has to do certain technical things. But I'm sure not only teenagers get into a different kind of world listening to music, also other older people do that.
Sir, I'd like to know, how has the scope of professional music production grown in India over time, especially from when you graduated school?
It depends on what music you're thinking of. If you're thinking of Western music, I think in India there's very little scope because the biggest problem is there are no teachers. There are no trained teachers apart from certain very special instruments. So it is the scope of learning music well in India is Western music is not given because there are no real conservatories of music or universities of music where you can, but that's a later stage. It's also not possible as a kid. If you want to learn an instrument, you have to start at 4 or 5 years of age. On the contrary, but for Indian music, I think there's a lot of scope for Indian classical music, although it has been overshadowed for decades now by Bollywood. And what I see, I know young musicians in India that these days so much of this music is synthetically produced. That means it's all electronic music. So one does not really know how much real music and how much electronic music is involved in the whole thing. And I think the show industry, if you are looking for a music career in India, it has to be attached to some kind of show industry, film industry. Otherwise, I think it is hard to make a living out of that in India.
Thank you so much, sir, for giving us the domestic approach of the same. My question to you, sir, is now on behalf of a lot of people who've put this forward, that acknowledging the fact that India is a majority wherein the people, or the parents, should I say, hold an orthodox ideology, which at various occasions does not let the youth choose a field, since they do not believe it to be quite reliable. Therefore, how do you manage to deal with the same, and what are the similar problems if you face something, and how did you deal with them?
Well, I was very lucky to come from a very unorthodox Indian family. So I did not have this orthodox upbringing even in my generation. The problem in India still is, especially your generations now, living in the open internet is that at home you are one person, and privately and on the internet you're a completely different person, because traditional upbringing in India does not allow you to move around out of the path. So let's talk about it generally. It starts off with things that you should become a doctor, a lawyer, an engineer. You have to go to a good university and do that. So if you want to become, I don't know, a musician, a graphic designer, a dancer, a painter, it's going to always shock family, because they envision their sons, especially their sons, not their daughters, doing a certain amount of thing. But that also comes with in India, which is changing, I think, also with the fact that in India, almost no one is allowed to go out of the role, especially for women, but also for men. You are supposed to finish college, get a job, even if you don't have the job, marry, have children, otherwise there's something wrong with you. What happens if you don't have children? Yeah. What happens if you don't want to do it? If you don't want to get married and just live with someone, that's still not possible in India. Yeah. So although you see that on internet in the whole world, so it's the cultural system, even in the educated world, of wanting to have a stereotype kind of person. And that's the same thing in the choice of the professions, that if you guys, you are interviewing me, if you're interested in music, for example, you will always have a certain amount of discussion in your families and your friends. Why don't you do something which offers a more stable job? That's the point. Yeah.
Sir, although there are a lot of, for example, reality shows which exist in today's day and age, so do you actually think that they have a bolstering impact on the various stages of a person's career in music? And do you think it has helped to reduce the orthodox thinking of the families in India?
Well, to be honest, you guys are living in Lucknow, you know, it does have a certain amount of these. First of all, these reality shows do have a certain amount of impact in making music popular and art popular. But it's like masala. Yeah, it's not really art as such. It's show business, and the other side is that these reality shows do move towards a certain amount of liberation of society in India, but it is still rather hypocritical as to what is happening in families and what is happening in the online world in India. I don't have to tell you guys, teenagers, about what you are doing and what you tell your family. Music or careers, alternative careers, what I feel, are also a problem of all part of the Indian phenomenon of having it difficult to have alternative lives. You see, I think that's part of the whole thing also. Although there's a big Indian movie and show industry, as such.
Right. Okay, sir, I got the gist of the answer. And my other question to you is, sir, that recently people have become more receptive towards different genres of music, like pop, hip hop, and Indian electronic music. Producers like Ritviz and etc. have gotten a rise in their performances, right? So, what has caused this shift, according to you, in taste of the people, and how can newcomers produce relevant music for the audience?
Which I see as a musician, is that this electronic music and all that needs less practicing. It's a shortcut. It's easier to do, so it is. That's why it also has got many more people doing it, because you don't need a sound musical background to be able to do it. But it appeals to many people, and it is also justified in its own case. At the end, it is not a question of how good I am as a musician. It depends on how many people want to listen to me. That's the point. Okay.
Perfect.
So, and I think there's a lot being developed in India regarding this. I find that the pop industry and the movie industry in Tamil Nadu is almost better than that in Bollywood at present.
Question that we have for you is that Would you like to share any piece of message or advice for all the aspiring music producers, singers, or people who want to make a name for themselves in the field of music? And how can they not just make a living out of the same, but also have a more enjoyable life because of having a career in music? Please help us understand that.
It's difficult. I think it is difficult to have, I mean, whatever you mean an enjoying life, I mean, someone who wants to do music is going to enjoy doing music and also have a career in it. But I think it is important to be emancipated in yourself as a person, especially for men in India than women, to be able to pursue that what you want to do. It's the same thing. You can imagine in my generation, when I used to say, when I used to go back to India as a young guy after starting in Austria, and they said, "What are you doing?" I said, "तो हम तो म्यूजिक पढ़ रहे हैं." तो कहते हैं कि म्यूजिक तो कर रहा है, लेकिन और क्या कर रहे हैं? That's the point, no? That's going to be the same question that they're going to ask you too.
So, sir, thank you so much for giving off your time so readily to help us understand the different avenues that a career field such as music offers. Thank you, sir, and we appreciate you giving off your time.